Hey YouTube, I'm Jake, and I'm from Colorado. More specifically, I'm from Denver. And at the moment, I am filming to you from my RV. Well, it's not my RV, it's a borrowed RV. I have permission. It's cool. I had a house in the suburbs. It was the American dream, short of the white picket fence. But everything else was true. Life was great. I had a job, I had a wife, I had a couple of dogs, I had a yard to mow, I had an air conditioner that was always breaking down. Anyway, it was great, really. But I was angry for no reason. I mean, I wasn't always from Denver. I actually moved there from a small town. And as small towns go, people were pretty happy. They got along with everybody. You knew everybody else's business. But generally, people were happy. But when I moved to Denver, it was only a couple of years before I realized that I was angry, agitated, all the time. I really wasn't sure why. Maybe it was the traffic, or maybe it was the bazillion stoplights, or maybe it was everybody there seemed to be agitated. Every interaction that I had, whether it was going to the convenience store or going to the movie theater or just getting gas, every interaction that I had with somebody, they were angry too. It was difficult just to get somebody to look you in the eye, and if you had any sort of conversation, it was very short. And I realized that I had to prepare myself every time I talked to somebody for some sort of confrontation. The wife and I went on vacation, a little bit of a road trip to the Pacific Northwest. And we realized that when we got there, we checked into a hotel, and when we got to the room, we looked at each other and we were like, was that not the most friendly front desk person you've ever met in your life? And we were both like, that was just amazing. And very shortly thereafter, we realized that while she was an excellent front desk attendant, that was normal. Every interaction that we had in these really small towns was so dramatically different than what we were used to. And we realized that we had a lot of jaggedness to our personality that we had to like conscientiously shake off. And it wasn't easy. I had to do it on purpose. I had to make sure that when I talked to people that I didn't come off as a jerk. And it was just second nature to me at that point. After living in Denver for all those years, I had sort of built up not just a thick skin, but a hostility of my own. I was angry. We were both angry, my wife and I, just all the time, for no reason. I mean, we'd get home and we'd be fine, and you know, we'd play with the dogs and everything's great, and but there was always this subsurface kind of tension that we really weren't able to identify until one day it hit me. It was just the city. I mean, don't get me wrong, I take full responsibility for my actions and my part, my role in my interactions with other people. But it was very real, and it was there. And it was kind of at that moment that we realized we're done. We're out. We got to get out of town. We got to get out of Denver. So we decided to look at moving to a smaller town. This was tough because we were living in Colorado. Colorado used to be known for cocaine and snow skiing. Now it's just the pot capital of the world. Well, a lot of people moving to Colorado. We decided to sell the house and we had to rent. But renting ended up being slightly more expensive than it was to own. Yes, it's true. All those mortgage commercials you've ever heard. But we decided that we needed to sell the house so that we can start the process of unrooting ourselves. We both had really good jobs and enjoyed our work, really. But we knew that we needed to start that process and really kind of shedding the excess of what we had accumulated while we were there. It was therapeutic. We got rid of a lot of stuff. It was actually great. Even if you don't plan on ever moving or going anywhere or anything like that, I recommend at least once a year purging. No, not that kind of purge. Just go through your stuff and really kind of decide if you need it or not. It's quite liberating. Anyway, so we sold the house. We moved into an apartment that was too small for us, that we were paying too much for, because everybody was moving to Colorado and Denver for pot reasons. And you know what? If that's what you're into, whatever. That's your business. But the point is that it was difficult to find something to rent. But we did. We managed. And we decided that we were going to rent while we were going to look for other property in a small town. The problem with that is, in a small town, finding a job's tough. Unless you've already got a network there, or you have family, or something like that, it's not easy. Small towns are small, usually for reasons. But we waited 2 years. We rented that small apartment for 2 years while we looked for property. We were thinking something like way out in the country. We were looking at some sort of off-grid kind of thing. I mean, it didn't have to be off-grid, but we definitely wanted that kind of feel. We wanted to be able to go out onto our porch or deck or whatever and not be able to see or hear our neighbor. And whatever amount of property it would require for us to do that, that's what we were interested in getting. So I started the property search, which was great. And wow, prices have gone up. But we had some criteria. Point of the story is that after 2 years of looking, we had really limited reserves as to what we would be able to afford from the proceeds of the sale of our house. But more importantly was the job situation. Well, we were nearing the end of the lease on our second year at that apartment, and we decided we just had to go. It was just time to go. Even though we weren't ready, it was one of those things where if we didn't leave now, we may never leave. We would just always perpetually be getting ready to go. So we did the hard thing. We called the landlord up and we're like, unfortunately, we're not going to renew the lease. We're moving to the country. So we did. We packed everything up. We managed to get everything into a 15-foot U-Haul and an old pickup truck. And we moved. We moved to a small town. A really small town. So here we are. We're in an RV. All of our stuff's in a storage unit. I have no job. I have no prospects. So we've decided to jump, and we did. and we jumped without a net. And it's really scary, but that's okay, because we're going to figure it out. We're looking for property. We're looking for jobs. We're looking for everything. So that's our story. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll make a few more videos, if for no other reason than to amuse myself. I'm easily amused. If you got any questions, or you want to make fun of me, or tell me how crazy I am, or explain to me just exactly what a stupid idea this was, let me know, because right now my head's spinning and I'm definitely feeling a little unhinged. But here we are. This is it. All right, thanks guys.